deep in the vibrant streets of Phuket, Thailand, a bustling tourist destination known for its stunning beaches and vibrant nightlife. A chilling tale unfolded. Emma, a young traveler filled with wanderlust, found herself entangled in a web of danger she could never have imagined. One evening, as Emma strolled through the lively night market, she caught the attention of a charismatic local named Ko. He possessed a charming smile and silver tongue that seemed to wave a spell around her. Ko offered to show Emma the hidden gems of Phuket, promising an unforgettable adventure. Intrigued by the allure of the unknown, Emma agreed, unaware of the darkness lurking beneath Ko's charming facade. They set off on a journey that would forever change her life. Ko led Emma away from the familiar tourist spots, deep into a labyrinth of alleys and shadowy corners of Phuket. With each step, the atmosphere grew increasingly foreboding, as if every air whispered of imminent danger. As they wandered deeper into the night, Emma's instincts began to tingle, warning her of impending danger. She suddenly noticed the subtle shift in Ko's demeanor, his once charming smile replaced by a sinister grin. Panic began to bubble within her, but escape seemed impossible. In the unfamiliar streets, Emma suddenly found herself surrounded by a group of menacing figures emerging from the darkness. Fear gripped her heart as she realized she had stumbled into a den of criminals, their intentions sinister and unclear. They grabbed Emma, their grip tight and unforgiving. She struggled and fought, her desperate cries lost in the chaos of the city's bustling nightlife. The captors dragged her through the dimly lit alleyways, their terrifying laughter echoing in her ears. Blindfolded and disoriented, Emma lost all sense of time and direction. They imprisoned her in a hidden location, a dank and windowless room that reeked of disrepair. The wall seemed to close in on her, suffocating any shred of hope she held onto. Days turned to weeks as Emma endured unimaginable torment, trapping her in a world of darkness and fear. Her spirit withered, but a tiny flame of determination flickered within her, refusing to be extinguished. One fateful night, her captors grew complacent. A stroke of luck illuminated her path to freedom. Emma managed to loosen her restraints, summoned every ounce of strength to escape the confines of the prison. Now that she was free, she crept through the old building, avoiding the watchful eyes of her captors. Every creaking floorboard and distant murmur amplified her terror, urging her to move faster. She could taste the sweet air of liberation on the tip of her tongue. Finally, she burst through a door and found herself outside. The cool night air, a balm to her tormented soul. Emma ran through the dimly lit streets, fueled by a determination born out of survival. Through sheer luck and kindness of a stranger, Emma found her way to safety. The local authorities were alerted, launching a thorough investigation to dismantle the criminal network responsible for her abduction. Although Emma emerged physically scarred and emotionally broken, her story became a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of even the most idyllic places. Her tale serves as a cautionary reminder to travelers, urging them to remain vigilant and aware, even in the most enchanting corners of the world. When meeting somebody in a strange place, be careful. They could be leading you into a trap. Emily arrived in Tokyo, captivated by the bustling streets, vibrant neon lights, and the promise of an unforgettable experience. She loved the city, but she had been there before and wanted to see something new. Eager to explore the lesser-known corners of Japan, she ventured into the countryside by train, where the veil between the physical world and the supernatural is said to be thin. Her path led her to a secluded village nestled among the mist-shrouded mountains. The village was interesting and mysterious, with traditional wooden houses and winding streets that seemed frozen in time. The locals were welcoming, but were whispering something among themselves while looking at her. She asked them, hoping to understand more. They simply said, "Eerie." They were all pointing at the darker section of the sky. Unsure what that was, she shook her head like she understood and moved on. Emily decided to delve deeper into the heart of the village. She discovered an abandoned shrine, covered in moss and surrounded by towering trees. Ignoring the warning signs, she stepped inside, feeling the weight of centuries-old prayers and unspoken secrets. As dusk settled, darkness engulfed the village, and a bone-chilling wind whispered through the trees. Shadows danced eerily along the cobblestone paths as Emily explored further, her footsteps echoing through the silence. Suddenly, she heard a distant wailing, echoing from the depths of the village. The sound sent a shiver down her spine, but curiosity compelled her to follow the mournful melody. Guided by an unseen force, she arrived at an ancient cemetery, its gravestones weathered by time. Among the graves, a figure materialized, a ghostly woman dressed in a traditional white burial garment. Her face was pale and gaunt, and her eyes glowed with an otherworldly light. Emily froze in terror as the ghostly apparition slowly approached, her ethereal voice carrying a sorrowful lament. The ghostly woman revealed herself as Yumi, a tragic figure who was wronged in life and left to wander as a vengeful spirit. Bound by her anguish and resentment, she sought justice for the injustices inflicted upon her. Unable to resist Yumi's compelling gaze, Emily was drawn into the nightmarish realm, a twisted parallel world where the line between the living and the dead is blurred. Yumi's wrathful spirit unleashed a torrent of supernatural horrors upon her, tormenting her with visions of her own fears and regrets. Haunted by relentless spirits and trapped in the labyrinth of terror, Emily fought to escape the clutches of this malevolent force. Every corner she turned revealed more nightmarish entities, each more ghastly than the last. With every ounce of strength, Emily called upon her wits and courage to break free from this haunting nightmare. She eventually was able to run away from the cemetery and found safety in the woods. Finally, as dawn broke, the ghostly realm began to crumble. Emily found herself gasping for breath in the woods. The spirits faded away, leaving her shaken and scarred, but alive. With her heart pounding, Emily stumbled back to the village, her mind reeling from the nightmarish encounter. As she left the cursed village behind, she carried the weight of her harrowing experience, a reminder that in the land of ancient traditions and folklore, the supernatural can become a horrifying reality. She got back to Tokyo and checked into the nicest hotel that she could find. She decided to stay in the city for the rest of her trip. She had enough fun and was ready to relax. If you go out into the unknown looking for a new experience, you just might find it. Don't be surprised if it's not what you had expected. In a land of vibrant traditions and ancient folklore, Korea is no stranger to chilling tales that send shivers down the spines of those who dare to listen. Deep within its landscapes and bustling cities lies a haunting travel story that'll make your blood run cold. Sarah is an adventurous traveler, with her sights set on exploring the mysteries of Korea. Eager to explore its rich history and immerse herself in the culture, she arrived in Seoul, a bustling capital city. One gloomy evening, as twilight cast long shadows over the city, Sarah embarked on a journey to the infamous Gyeongbokgung Palace. The palace, steeped in legends and secrets, stood as a silent witness to centuries of royal intrigue and tragic stories. As Sarah wandered through the palace grounds, an eerie silence enveloped the air, accentuated by the distant rustle of leaves. Flickering lanterns cast a soft glow, illuminating the ancient structures and stone walkways, creating a surreal atmosphere. Lost in the palace's labyrinth halls, Sarah stumbled upon a hidden doorway. Drawn by an unseen force, she cautiously stepped through, her footsteps echoing in the darkness. Unbeknownst to her, she had entered a realm that was shared between the living and the dead. Suddenly, the air grew heavy with an oppressive energy as a ghostly figure materialized before her. It was the spirit of a vengeful queen, whose tragic fate tethered her to the place in an eternal state of unrest. Her eyes gleamed with fury and despair, her haunting form exuding an icy chill. Terrified, Sarah found herself trapped in the grip of the ghostly queen's vengeful power. The palace's once majestic halls transformed into a nightmarish maze, shifting and changing around her. The corridor seemed to stretch indefinitely, leading her further into the realm of darkness. Whispers filled the air, voices from long-gone eras, pleading and mournful. Shadows danced and contorted, taking sinister forms that taunted Sarah's sanity. She raced through the never-ending corridors, her heart pounding in her chest, desperate to escape the clutches of a vengeful queen. As Sarah entered the brink of exhaustion, a glimmer of hope appeared in the distance, a small ray of light piercing through the darkness. She summoned her last reserves of strength and sprinted towards it, breaking free from the maze of nightmares. Gasping for breath, Sarah stumbled back into the familiar courtyard of Gyeongbokgung Palace. The ghostly apparition and the haunting corridors had vanished, leaving behind only a lingering sense of dread. She emerged from the experience forever changed, haunted by the encounter with the vengeful queen. The chilling whispers and malevolent presence would forever remind her of the thin veil that separates the living from the restless spirits that dwell in the shadows. As Sarah left Korea, she carried with her a newfound respect for the unseen forces that shape the country's history. Her story serves as a warning for those interested in diving too deeply into the mysteries of an enchanted land, where the supernatural and the mundane coexist, waiting to ensnare unsuspecting travelers. I was traveling through Thailand again and decided to take a boat to a remote island this time. The streets of Phuket were really fun and all, but I've been there and done that with ping pong shows and other lewd activities. I wanted to try something different. I met up with a group of adventurous friends I met on a local Thai social app. They are all nature enthusiasts and shared a deep love for exploring uncharted territories. One sunny morning, while sipping coconut water on the pristine Patong beach, one of them stumbled upon a weathered map that piqued all of our curiosity. The map depicted a remote island nestled far off the coast of Phuket, shrouded in mystery and untouched by the usual tourist influx. Intrigued by the prospect of uncovering hidden treasures and experiencing the untouched beauty of the island, we decided to embark on an unforgettable boat trip. The next morning, we rented a dirty wooden boat from a local fisherman named Mr. Chai. With his weather-beaten face and twinkling eyes, Mr. Chai shared his tales of mystical sea creatures and hidden caves that lay en route to the island. I, who had always been fascinated by folklore, hung on to every word, eager to experience an adventure. As the boat set sail, the azure waters of the Andaman Sea glistened under the tropical sun. The salty breeze kissed our cheeks, filling our lungs with the fresh scent of the ocean. Our excitement grew with each passing wave as we left the bustling shores of Phuket behind and ventured into the unknown. The journey was not without its challenges. We encountered unpredictable weather, battling fierce winds and choppy seas, but we were determined and persevered. The boat rocked and swayed, carrying us closer to our destination to explore. After hours of anticipation, the island's silhouette finally emerged on the horizon, a lush green jewel in the vast expanse of the sea. As we approached, the boat slowed, navigating through the narrow channel between the towering limestone cliffs that seemed to guard the island's secrets. The moment we stepped off the island's untouched shores, a sense of tranquility washed over all of us. The group I had met on the app were seasoned in this sort of thing. They were even taken aback by the beauty of this island. A dense tropical forest welcomed us, and the vibrant colors of exotic flowers danced in the sunlight. We hiked through the lush foliage, discovering hidden waterfalls and sparkling streams that refreshed our weary souls. This is exactly what I was looking for in my life. I have found paradise. As the day drew to a close, We found ourselves on a secluded beach, surrounded by golden sands and crystal clear waters. With the evening sky ablaze in hues of orange and purple, we built a bonfire and shared stories, our laughter muffled with the sound of waves crashing against the shore. Nightfall revealed a spectacle that we could have never imagined. The starry sky stretched overhead, illuminating the island in celestial glow. Bioluminescent plankton, like tiny specks of stardust, glowed in the water, creating a mesmerizing display of nature's wonders. Everything was so amazing and perfect until something unsettling happened. We all heard a mysterious noise in the distance. It sounded like a voice yelling for help. We all looked at each other with disbelief. Was someone else out here? We heard the voice again. Was this real? Suddenly we realized we were not alone as we thought we were. The voice continued to scream out for help. It would say, "Help me," and "Please." Whoever it was, they appeared to say the similar, if not exactly the same phrases. We were not sure at the time, but it's something we realized later on. We all decided we must investigate what's going on. Is someone else really on the island with us? How did they get here? Is someone holding them against their will? What have we accidentally found while trying to find peace? We all prepared for the worst, grabbing flashlights and knives. We headed towards the sound. As we got away from the camp, the darkness grew greater and greater. Eventually, the only light around us was coming from our flashlights. Everything else was completely dark except for the bonfire located right behind us. The voice was pleading with us to help, and it was getting louder and louder. We must be getting close. We got where the voice was coming from exactly, and we saw something unexpected. We all froze in fear as our flashlight was trained on a woman. But it was no ordinary woman. There was something really, really wrong. The woman didn't have a head, and her guts were hanging out of her stomach. I've never been more scared in my entire life. Terrified, we ran as fast as possible to the fire in the distance. As we were running from the terror that we had seen, we heard something fly through the darkness. We were all running as fast as we could back to safety. We got back to the base camp, grabbed all of our stuff, and ran for the boat. We got in and set sail back to Phuket. It was dark, but we had to take our chances. When we got back the next morning, we told Mr. Chai about what we had experienced. He looked concerned, but not surprised. The creature that we saw was called a crouse. The crouse is a female ghost known for its terrifying appearance. It is said that the crouse's head detaches from her body at night, with her entrails hanging down. The crouse flies through the darkness, searching for blood and flesh to sustain itself. Legends claim that it's the spirit of a woman who practiced dark magic. We had escaped the crouse with our lives. When exploring new areas of the world, reconsider land masses that are untouched by civilization. There might be a reason that no one lives there. Days turned to weeks. They were all nature enthusiasts and shared a deep love of boo. The next morning, we rented a sturdy wooden boat from a local fisherman. Our path led to an exclusive village. It is said that the crouse is Emily arrived in Tokyo, captivated by the... Story 2. Captivated by the Her path led her to an... oh my god, I can't do this. As the dusk